How is it observed? Every year in the month of Ramadan, all Muslim fast from dawn until sunset. Depending on where you're living, um, basically they base everything on when the sunrise is between sunrise and sunset. So that's the period. In some places, it's a longer period, other places smaller. But the whole idea is, as I said, abstaining from food, drink, sexual relations with their spouses. And here's another a piece of Ramadan teaching, fasting, or going through this season, is that those who are sick, elderly, or on a journey are can avoid this. They are not obligated to do this. And also women who have their periods, because of the that because they're not clean, is the issue is the purification issue, right? So very much Jewish law. So they are excused from partaking into this Ramadan season until they have finished their purification. Pregnant or nursing women are permitted to break the fast and make up an equal, here's an important point, equal number of days later in the year if they are healthy and able. The traditions say that Muhammad used to do that all the time. Even outside of Ramadan, he will fast a lot, which is also counted toward those reward. But during Ramadan, when you do the fasting, when you fast during Ramadan, you have more rewards. But outside of fasting, if you just um, um, fasting if you miss any fast, you are allowed to take out you are allowed to fast outside of Ramadan to meet the requirement. But then additionally, if you fast, you get additional points. So that's the idea. It's very reward based idea. The more fasting, more things you do, the more blessing you earn. And how is it observed among children? It is believed to be a, a thing that you need to teach your children from early age. So children begin to fast. Actually, as a matter of fact, living in a household, you become sort of, it's a part of nurturing. So when you're living with your siblings, your parents, you see them doing, so you just do it as a kid. So children begin to fast and to observe prayers from puberty, but it starts much, much earlier. I'm talking about as early as maybe 3, 4 years old. And you see them in the Muslim context, in Muslim countries, you see them, children going to the madrasa, local mosque, and early morning to partake into early morning prayer. So this is a discipline that Muslim community instill in their children in early age, very much similar to what Jewish Hebrew scripture requires of uh, Hebrews, that they should teach them all that is in the Jewish law to their children. So you start this in an early age. We should do the same thing. I hope that you are. I do that with my children. There are often, when I'm doing Bible study or praying, my children just join me, my boys especially. I still pray like the way I used to pray in Pakistan, which is bow down all the way on the floor. So my son comes, he's 4, or he just comes and just does the same thing. He knows that dad is in a prayer mode. So I think some of those traditions, some of those habits are good to set example for your children and for your household. Um, it's not obligation. We don't Prayer comes from heart, but the posture does communicate something, at least humility, right? So although fasting is beneficial to health, that's another thing that Muslims take pride in. They say and they almost every year, medical community will publish some sort of article, something talking about how is God did this God chose this because it's beneficial for both spiritual health and your physical health. It is mainly a method of self purification and self restraint. By cutting oneself from worldly comfort, even for a short term, a fasting person focuses on his or her purpose in life by constantly being aware of the presence of God. I'm sure you have experienced that when if you have fasted recently or sometime in the past, you will notice when we fast, we are more aware of God's presence. That means that we are intentional. We are studying the Word, listening to Christian music, whether it's hymns or songs, and then we study the scripture and try to spend more time in prayer, pleading before God for whatever that reason might be. If it's a Thanksgiving fasting, we are thanking the Lord. But if it's for healing or some sort of other plead, we go before the Lord and remain in that spiritual posture before Him, which means you have awareness of God's presence. And we see that, and I'm not going to go in. It's not a comparison of Muslim fasting versus Christian fasting or Jewish fasting. This little presentation is not about that, but I will say this, that in the scriptures you will find many instances, many cases where fasting is encouraged. There is a 7 days fasting, 3 days fasting, 24-hour fasting, 40-day fasting by the Lord. Moses did that. So we know that the concept of fasting is there, and we just came out of the Lent season. So we know that Catholic and other Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, and other um, denomination or faiths within Christianity do fast. But the idea of fast in those is you give up some sort of um, uh, food, or you don't eat food, but you can drink. But in Muslim fasting, you don't drink, you don't eat. It's real fasting, complete fasting. But here's an interesting fact. Though Muslims fast from dawn to right before dawn to sunset, Christians in the same context in those Muslims country in the East, Christians fast 24 hours. So they will eat, let's say today at 6 o'clock, they're going to eat next time they're going to eat is tomorrow, 6 o'clock. But they neither drink nor eat. So it's like complete fasting. It's very rigid, very legalistic, but that's the type of tradition they follow. And often, growing up in Pakistan, I heard Muslims actually admiring Christian fasting. That, oh, you guys have 40 days. I don't know how you fast for 40 days, and you guys have 24 hours. Like you don't even eat in the morning. Um, so it's I do not know why we have that system, but we do. um, Anyways, so the idea I'm trying to share with you is a self-purification, self-restraint, and being aware of the presence of God. That's how Muslims see it.